Hey, what's up guys? Sir Emanon here, and today we have yet another Reddit Championship Series match commentary. This time we are featuring round number 3 with RevzCards, who you guys probably know from his very good YouTube channel. Definitely check it out in the description box down below. Who is playing Crusadia Dragon Link up against TheEcchiLord playing Subterror. And once again with me for this commentary we have MBT Yu-Gi-Oh as per usual. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I gotta say I've been very tired of late, but I was invigorated when I saw how absolutely cool Rev's deck is. We were just looking at it before the game started, and there's a bunch of really sweet stuff in here that I hope he gets to show off.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool text to adapt to the ban list changes, notably Distrito being banned, as well as some cute interactions like Steam the Cloak tributing off Hermetic Seals to get dragons from deck. So this should be pretty interesting to see exactly how the adaptations have changed coming into the new format. We haven't really seen a lot of Dragon Link, especially with Needle Fiber, which is pretty interesting considering that in the OCG, Needle Fiber was kind of like the hallmark portion of a lot of Dragon Link strategies. But this should be a very interesting match provided we get to see Revs pop off a bit.
Yeah, one of the frustrating things about Adamancipator and Eldritch being so dominant is it feels often as if Dragon Link is just an Adamancipator deck that ends on worse bosses. So I'm interested to see the things that Revs has done in order to differentiate it from a deck that already has a huge target on its head. It looks like he has picked some really great stuff for the job. The other deck is Guru. Not a lot to say about it other than the fact that it's Guru.
Yeah, it is about as cookie cutter of a list as you can expect at this point in time. Pretty much, we can't really think of anything that's too special just by looking at it. It's just
no
Guru.
Umastrix, so it is going to be hard to deal with really beat funguses. Double Archer, I suppose, is a little bit interesting, and the super poly targets are out of this world. But aside from that, nothing that's too surprising.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop into game 1 here. All right, so it looks like Revs won the die roll, which is pretty critical.
Great news for him. Difficult to establish boards against Guru, especially lists like this one playing as many Solemns and Floodgates as they can get their hand on. At opener, there could be only one Infip Duality Summon Limit. That is a 100% victory on the play.
Well, luckily for Revs, he's not on the play. But this hand is also pretty interesting. We see the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which is a bit of a tech where you can make a Trap Tricks with Leisure with something like Parallel Exceed, and then you can send the Gravedigger's Trap Hole if your opponent tries to hand trap you. Notably, unlike Call by the Grave, for example, you can play around Nibiru this way. So it's a really good insurance option, especially because Revs is also on Format Skipper, which can search it upon being linked away. So the idea with the Crusadia stuff is you can reveal a Crusadia Link monster, make a Magius, and then go right into a Parallel Exceed and just continue from there.
It's really a perfect storm of stuff for Dragon Link in particular. The availability of the Crusadia engine alongside 4-Mon Skipper, Parallel Exceed fulfilling 4-Mon Skipper's secondary effect, and I think the first really good card that does so. And having an in-archetype way to find your way to Nibiru Insulation without having to devote space to something like Herald of the Arclight is pretty dope.
All right, so let's see what this hand can achieve. Alright, starting off with normally Crusadia Draco, not too surprising. Gonna go into a Magius, and then this will probably trigger the Parallel Exceed right here. Alright, which will trigger to summon itself and another copy of itself upon hitting the field. And
frustratingly, for Revs, I don't think he actually has a second hole trap. So while the Rafflesia is funny, it actually doesn't have the ability to activate Gravediggers.
Yeah, it looks like he could also just opt to pivot and maybe just use these monsters as link fodder instead. Which looks like he's doing, going into Crusadia Spatha and then summoning Draco. So this is the classic Crusadia Guard Dragon combo where you summon LP to the zone that Spatha points to, and then Spatha moves it in such a way where there are 2 link arrows pointing to the same zone. And it looks like we'll also get to see another tech card, which is Noctovision Dragon, which allows you to special summon it to your field if a Dark Dragon monster is special summoned. So it also gets you an additional draw if it is linked away. So just free stuff.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the Crusadia engine coming in hot here, but unfortunately, drawing into multiple copies of Draco means you're not able to flex the ability of Draco to add other Crusadias from your graveyard back to your hand. Not that big of a deal when you can find additional material in errant parallel exceeds or knocked visions.
Right, and if we're looking at the Subterror's hand, the only disruption is the single impermanence, so we'll see if using imperm on something like the LP here is going to be enough to actually disrupt RevzCards' play. Looks like it won't, because we're just going to go right into a copy of Sir Yugioh.
Saruya does a ton for this hand. You get to put the Gravediggers back. A 4-month Skipper is an insane pickup, as well as a Brotar. We found both the Ravine and the Boot Sector launch cards that we want to find off of individual Link monsters, so we can always put those back with the second half of Saruya's effect.
Indeed, and we also get an additional draw off of the Noctivision Dragon, drawing a lot of the one-ofs that are tutorable, which is pretty unfortunate, but at least we get to put a fair amount of these back.
Wow, I mean, I don't even know what you put. Looks like we are returning everything but the Brotar and the Buster Dragon Whelp. The Dragon Ravine in hand and the Boot Sector launch in hand are not necessarily garnets, they're just cards you would have preferred to be able to add.
Exactly, but we still have Sir Yugioh to be able to special summon this Brotar, and we'll see. Brotar will target itself, pitching the Destruction Sword, so maybe we're not going for Union Carrier this turn. Going for a Galactic Spiral Dragon, which will probably be pitched off this Ravine in order to send routers.
We can get pretty far here.
Alright, so we're going to get into our rocket portion, and we still have access to Pisty, so the impermanence seems to not have affected the play too badly.
Yeah, unlikely we're going to end on the 15 negate unbreakable board, but still should be able to put up something that's going to be very difficult for Guru specifically to deal with. You know, Guru is fantastic at preventing opponents from playing, almost better than any other deck save Eldritch, but it's really, really miserable when it comes to cleaning up already established boards.
Alright, so probably the line of play will involve Galactic Spiral Dragon being summoned at some point. It also has an effect where once it's on the field, it can change the levels of all of your monsters to level 8, so you can overlay for an easy number 38. So it looks like that's happening right now. And we're just going to go ahead and summon that. And we can also go for a Hieratic Seal if we wanted to. Oh, looks like
so that might be what we're doing now, yeah.
Alright, and Boot Sector Launch is going to summon Tracer. Tracer can go ahead and pop Boot Sector Launch. Or we could just go for a Striker Dragon, but I doubt we play more than one Boot Sector. So this could also turn into a Borload Savage Dragon at the end of it.
So, I mean, not as impressive as, you know, Appaloosa 7, Warlord Savage, Union Carrier, Extra Deck Locks, but still pretty good. It's a Spell Negate, an Omni Negate, and a Hieratic Seal, which is an unbelievable piece of interaction.
Yeah, and while this looks like, you know, his board doesn't really have a lot of follow-up, what you can do once you tribute the Hieratic Seal, you can summon another copy of Tracer, assuming there is another one, and then pop the Sir Yugioh. Savage will get to keep the counters, and then you get more Link fodder for next turn. You also get to, if you have Brotar access, you can bring that back, and as well as the Spiral Dragon. So there's a lot of cool stuff that can be pretty recursive.
This is interesting. The second duality seems pretty bad, but if Revs shotguns the Borload Savage, it's going to be way good.
Alright, so Savage... Oh, actually, no. It looks like it's going to be negated by Harbinger instead of the Savage.
Unfortunately, does Harbinger negate activations?
I believe it negates the effect. Let's see. You can negate that effect, and if you do, attach this card.
Oh, no. Oh, now the duality's looking pretty terrible.
Yeah, looks like we're just going to have to wall up and hope the floodgates are good enough.
Yeah, looks like Rev says, yeah, I don't know. Set cards, I suppose I could just attack in. This is functionally lethal here.
Yeah, we're looking at, what is this, 7,400 damage, roughly? So, not too hard to assemble lethal.
Alright, summon limit is fine. Being a known quantity means that it's easy to go into something like a Striker Dragon and make your way to the finish line.
Alright, and I believe that was Format Skipper revealing Boros Sword. I think. Oh no.
Completely
Oh,
unnecessary.
well, there we go. We're gonna go into a striker dragon. So it copies the name, type, and attribute, but not the level. So it keeps its level, which fulfills the condition for striker dragon. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a really fun interaction. It looks like we are going to be able to add the remaining parallel exceed from deck. Always good to get your garnets out. And I guess we can just go to the battle phase here.
All right, and it looks like this there can be only one will be swiftly negated by that Borderlord Savage Dragon, and this is 8,400 damage if I can math. So I do believe this is game here.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Well, the good news for the Subterror player is that RevzCards has no idea what he's playing. So,
It's some deck that includes summon limit, and there can be only one, and there's just about 1,000 of those.
yeah, the subset of that is not the most narrow. But now this is going to be a pretty dead giveaway because we opened the Hidden City as well as Fiendus.
This is about as good as hands get. You know, we've got a Solemn Strike, we've got a There Can Be Only One, we've got Ash. As long as this Hidden City resolves and we're able to find a Guru, we'll have a final battle as well, plus a Fiendus Insulation. I mean, you could not hope for more than this. And on the other hand, RevzCards' grip is terrible. They've got a copy of Gravedigger's Trap Hole
twice in a row. Oh,
35-card deck, by the way.
You hate to see it.
Glued to the opener.
Let's see. We got a final battle as you had the insight to see into, and then we are going to just set our cards and pass.
What can I say? I am a genius when it comes to a deck that requires 2 brain cells to pilot.
All right, so looks like we could go something along the lines of mining, pitching, Abs Router if we wanted to, or we could just normal summon our Crusadias and go off that way. All right,
that's an easy Ash. You want to be taking these 2-for-1s whenever you can, of course, and Fiendus has so much utility you can't just throw her away on something like that.
Right. Well, fortunately for RevzCards, Abs Router Dragon will, of course, get value. So we're going to go ahead and search our Rocket Tracer. And we still have a plentiful amount of follow-up here. Right, normaling Draco going into... Oh, well, this prompts there can be only one, but this is maybe not the correct time to activate it quite yet because the Crusadia extra deck monsters are all different types from the main deck monsters, which are also different types from each other.
Yeah, you're getting almost no value from this time. I would have preferred to see it on something like the Rocket Tracer activation when you could potentially negate an effect on the way as well. Now there's going to be substantially less investment. We're going to go Magius into Arborea. That's going to search a card, probably a Draco, honestly.
All right, looks like Magius is going to be negated by the Fiendus.
Oh.
Let's see if we're going to have to be forced into a Nightmare Phoenix line, which will definitely eat this strike, if anything. Oh, going to Halqifibrax instead. All right.
Halk is interesting and definitely will prompt this Solemn Strike.
Yeah, definitely. No card in the game with a bigger target on its back at the moment.
Right. I imagine down will come the Foolish Burial, and I don't think we have any interruption remaining. Let's see how far Revs can get from here.
Ooh, a Galactic Spiral Dragon. So, with the normal summon already being used, I think that actually marks the end of Rev's turn. Yeah, we're just
hilariously, that Gravediggers might actually get some value in this matchup. I expect that the Subterror player will be activating Final Battle at end step. That'll search another Fiendus, and then Fiendus can be negated from the hand if Gravedigger's Trap Hole ever comes up.
Right. So we draw a Super Poly for turn, which is definitely not the most alive it's ever been, but we're just going to go ahead and attack for meaningful damage.
I guess I like this. I think against the Link summoning deck, it's also worth potentially using Final Battle to flip this Guru face down, flipping it up with Hidden City, grabbing an Archer so that you have its Book of Moon effect live as well. But turning the clock on your opponent is, of course, very powerful too.
Alright, so it looks like Revs picked up a Noctivision Dragon, which unfortunately doesn't special itself upon the normal summon of a Dark Dragon. It only works on special summon. So the play would have to involve summoning Tracer, going into, say, a Striker Dragon to pick up a Boot Sector launch, and then summoning Noctivision that way. This could lead into something like an attempted Romulus play, provided, of course, this Fiendus doesn't prevent him from getting there. But there is also there can be only one, so you can't even get into the Striker Dragon portion of that play. So
interaction of there can be only one against this deck is just devastating. I mean, there's almost nothing you can do against it, and it looks like this is actually pretty much the end of the game, depending on how much the Guru player is willing to commit.
Yeah, just a bit too much there to handle. I think without the strike, we would have been fine with the Needle Fiber play, but did not happen, and now Guru is in full control.
That is a good one. Let's see if the Gravediggers comes down.
And it does.
Yes, it will.
But
and it will
Solemn
be
Judgment.
met with Solemn Judgment.
Alright, well, final battle will flip up the Guru in the end phase, and this is most certainly going to be the end of the game. Nemesis Archer will make sure that no random flip effect monsters are gonna intervene.
Plays around Maneater Bug.
Alright, and with that, I do believe we are going to go into a game 3.
All right. So often when playing against Guru, it feels like the die roll determines the outcome of the match. If there's any deck that can play through that amount of back row, it's something like Dragon Link, but there can be only one. It's just so hard to overcome for any strategy like this.
All right, so the players had some issues with sighting because Dueling Book is, maybe not the best platform ever, but we are working on fixing the issue here. And moving on to game 3. So
right,
Revs,
here we go, and ooh, that's a grip.
Revs with a very strong opening. This definitely plays through the multiple hand traps that the Subterror player has opened up. So got a lot of follow-up.
One issue with Subterror is that you really only have like 6 to 9 ways to find your linear game plan. And if you don't open them, you draw too many pieces of interaction, hand traps, or just flat-out trap cards, you can lose the game even if your opponent ends on a mediocre board. So while this Ash Blossom and this Infinite Impermanence are going to do a lot against the setup turn, unless they can assemble like a Guru or a Hidden City of their own, I mean, the game might be over anyway.
Right, and there is the format skipper interaction that we didn't quite get to see game 1, but we get to see here. So searching for the Parallel Exceed en route to Magius being on the field, and Draco being summoned as well. So we're gonna Ash the Magius here.
I guess I like it. With the knowledge of the Parallel Exceeds in hand, you want to be getting the Ash out of the hand before the Rafflesia comes down, of course. And the Magius is arguably a relevant time to do that. You probably won't get an opportunity to fire the Ash against the LP, and you have that regard.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing here, however, is the World Legacy Guard Dragon is just gonna ensure that there will be a Guard Dragon play at some point in this combo sequence. We're going to go into Striker Dragon as a follow-up, so we're going to go ahead and chain its effect with Parallel Exceeds.
Those arrows are so good.
Yeah, this is pretty convenient. So we will go ahead and possibly make Rafflesia at this point, just to deter any possible lingering Nibiru's. Yeah, World Legacy Guard Dragon coming down next, and we will go ahead and summon Pisty. Interesting. But we could also use it to, of course, move either of these dragons to make efficient zone placements, of course.
I do like Revs is identifying that this is an extremely weird play. I'm going to use World Legacy Guard Dragon to target Pisty. That's going to be met with Infinite Impermanence. Odd.
Alright, well, it's interesting because I'm not sure exactly where Revs goes with this entire hand. Depends on his extra deck. It could either be a Saryuja or it could be a Romulus, but we see... Oh, going to risk everything.
Sorry. Oh, that's a format. Let's draw some cards.
Alright. Gotta risk it sometimes. And of course, drawing the Gravedigger's Trap Hole yet again.
3 games in a row, glued to this individual's hand. The Twin Twister is really good against Guru, but... man...
Alright, so we still haven't actually committed to LP because we went Pisty first. So we can use Saryuja to summon the Brotar, which pretty much means the entire play is live. And also triggers Brotar.
Again, even if all they end on is a couple of relevant monsters, it's likely going to be enough to beat back a hand that requires a life point investment and your opponent to not negate a significant amount of your spells and traps.
Alright, so we saw the LP bring out the Rocket Tracer, and then LP and Soryuja go into Hieratic Seal. The Tracer going to pop the World Legacy Guard Dragon to summon, I assume Silver from deck. So this can go ahead and make a Savage. So through 2 hand traps, this is Savage, Seals, plus Twin Pitching and Router. So definitely pretty good, especially against this particular hand.
I mean, this is likely good enough, right? It would have to be something fantastic off the top. Manhunt is not it.
Yikes.
Double
Well,
crackdown in this hand.
I think we are not long for this world if we are playing Subterror at this point in time. So it looks like we're hitting, I believe that's both the copies of Strike too. So any hopes of breaking the board.
So, what an unbelievable blind hit. All right, crackdown. Let's see how down you can crack.
And Rocket Synchron, notably being searched there, means that we can go for a Hakafabrax play. And also we have Reclusia, which can force another back row. So yeah, this is just going to play through pretty much every single card imaginable.
Going for the Savage, and of course it returns. Next we're going to, I think, normal summon this Rocket Synchron.
Yeah, and Synchron also has an effect on normal summon where it can revive a level 5 or higher dragon from grave, so it can bring back Apps Router, you can get another search, and just basically keep going. Maybe go for Borrow Sword here if you want to just end the game as fast as possible. Yep.
That looks like it's the play, and while we can activate the crackdown if we so desire, it is not going to do anything.
Yeah. A bit too little too late at this point in time. So a very nice display of what the Dragon Link deck is capable of doing post previous ban lists as well as post Eternity Code. So very good showing from RevzCards deck here. And yeah, that was a pretty good match actually. It displayed what both decks are capable of doing, whether it's combo off or sit in a couple of floodgates.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of wrote Dragon Link off as the worst combo deck in the format, but I think this proves that the archetype still has legs and will definitely be something to look for upcoming formats.
Yeah, and certainly a lot of high-profile players are asserting that in the absence of the dominance of Adamancipator and Eldritch, Dragon Link would be definitely one of the better choices. So this will be very interesting to see how far Revs will be able to take this deck. But that's going to do it for us here. Any final words before we sign off?
I'm excited to see Revs' run. Again, check out their channel if you haven't already, and congratulations to them.
All right, see you guys.